Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome back out to yet another Friday here at Giga Texas. And there are some big news that is going on with Tesla and also here in Austin and Giga Texas that I want to share with you. Tesla is about to roll out the Robotaxi service here at Austin, and the early invites for early access users is already going out. That started to go out last night, basically Thursday night, and the event will begin Sunday, the 22nd of June. Now, the early access invitees have to go through a little bit of a process, read through some rules, and agree to some conditions, and then they will get a separate app. It looks like there will be a Robotaxi app that is standalone from the regular Tesla app, and then through there you'll be able to arrange for rides within a geofenced area initially here in downtown Austin. Now, some of the details, for what I understand, is that they're going to be starting with about 10 cars initially for this tryout. There will be a driver supervised in the passenger seat, but the car itself will be driving autonomously. People in the early access program can bring along a second passenger as long as they are over 18, and they also agree to the rules with the Cybercab and the Robotaxi service, and most of those are pretty self-explanatory and understandable. And of course, Tesla is trying to be very cautious with this initial rollout. And there is, like I said, a geofenced location which will eventually expand throughout the Austin metro area, and they will start bringing on more and more vehicles to the fleet as they gain a little bit more experience. And I expect that to go fairly quickly within the next few weeks, and we'll start seeing more and more cars being introduced to that fleet. Now, a couple other things about the service. It looks like it runs from 6 a.m. to midnight, and again, that starts on Sunday. The early access invitees, it looks like you can use this all the time. It's not for a singular event, and so starting on Sunday for thereafter, those that have the invite and the Robotaxi app should be able to use that service. They also have said that cameras and photos are fine, and so because of that, expect a lot of viewers that have YouTube channels doing coverage and giving you a lot more of the details, and I'm looking forward to being one of them and maybe give you a flavor for how does that Robotaxi app work, what is it like to have that Robotaxi arrive, and what if you have a lot of luggage or so, how would that process work? I finally just want to say congratulations to Tesla, the Tesla AI team, and all the Tesla employees around the world that have been working so hard and so long to bring us to this day. And this is definitely a momentous and a big milestone for Tesla, but also I think for autonomy in general, as this is going to herald in a much different world as this service continues to expand, go to different cities, and eventually goes around the world. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. So anyway, that's the news that I want to cover for the intro. So let's get the drone in the air and let's fly around and see what Giga Texas looks like today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, good morning from the south side of Giga Texas. Can you believe it? This is the last time I'll fly here without having a Robotaxi service somewhere in the world, and I'm really looking forward to that on Sunday. But for today, let's take a look at what is going on here at the factory. There are a lot of some detail changes or updates that I do want to show you, and is of interest, and we'll start here at the cooling system. Now, I've had some viewers ask about how much water is used by these cooling towers, and some of them actually are suggesting some ridiculous amounts, like 8 million gallons a day or something like that. That is not the case. Most of this is reclaimed water from rain. There's underground vaults. They have 4 humongous tanks And in fact, you can see one of those just through the windows on the right side of the screen, and they recycle most of that water, and it's in a closed system. Now, some of the water is expended through vapors and it's replaced, but it is significantly less than the 8 million gallons that some viewers are trying to say. So that's not the case. But as far as more details on that, I'd have to do a little bit more research. But hopefully that helps answer those concerns about how much water is being used. Now we're at the south end of the parking garage. We can see more of that material still being stockpiled on that south end. The privacy fences are around the ground level, and they're also still on that 6th floor as they are continuing to do some work in the inside, most likely related to next vehicles, and hopefully we'll be getting some information about that soon. Here we can see more of the materials, the steel corrugated pipes and other pipe segments that are being manufactured on the east side being stockpiled here, and that suggests that we're going to see some more construction with that soon. I did notice these items parked next to the trailers. I'm not exactly sure what they are. Trying to zoom in to give you a better view. At first I thought they might be superchargers, but now I'm not really sure. They may just be some sort of electrical equipment, but I know that there's a lot of experts watching my videos, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments in the video and letting me know what these actually are, and I would very much appreciate it. But there's a good group of them here on this side of the factory today. As I maneuver the drone around, and we'll come back and take a look at the east side of the factory. We can see all the loading platforms at the various different levels, and as we've been talking about for some time, there is a lot of work going on in the inside here to reconfigure, add, and build out additional production capabilities, and we've seen concrete trucks going into some of the area and bringing in concrete to fill out new floors and slabs. So that work continues. I'm stopping here to show you the solar panels. We see the unirack mounts along the ground and how far we've gotten around where the flagpoles are. But on my previous video, we saw them lifting up a bunch of solar panels, and we can see them in these kind of bundles here, and they're stacked around on the roof section. The ones on the right were lifted up on my previous video, and I've also found over on the west side the storage location for many more of these, and I will show you that in the video a little later. But it looks like they are preparing to start assembling more of the solar panels on the roof, and I know a lot of viewers are very concerned about that, and I'm glad to be able to show you that progress. And this is that crane that has been used to bring those solar panels up to the roof section. I did notice that there is extensive amount of trenching and work here along the berm. We'll start on this side, work our way to the south, and I'll show you what is going on here. And it is definitely growing, and the amount of work that they're doing here is picking up the pace. Now we also see flexible cabling and conduit for probably I don't know, LAN fiber optic connections, and that is going on in addition to the water pipes. I did know outbound lot. This is a Friday. There were new vehicles exiting the factory today. Now that one was being driven by a person. I did see some of them driving autonomously over to the outbound lot. And so that's interesting. Also, in here, you can see that work for the load levelers inside the receiving doors. There is a permit that is talking about that work, so it looks like that is being configured for receiving. I like this shot with the flags reflecting in the windows. I also noticed that they are cleaning up the main entrance again. Now, this is a common occurrence, but also there may be some additional Robotaxi unveiling events that are going on for a invited crowd, and I'm thinking maybe that is being prepared for that as well this weekend. So pretty neat. Now, as I said, there is a lot of trenching going along this berm section. So today I'm going to fly along most of it just to show you the extent of the work that is going on. Of course, the dirt road connects the north and the south parts together, and they're working their way along here. We see many trench boxes being prepared with the workers on the bottom right. You get a good chance to see the scale. More of them being prepared here on the right-hand side of the screen. And then here on the south end, I noticed that in this trench box, they were doing some significant welding. So I thought I would zoom in and show you what this looks like. Almost looks a little bit like a rocket from what we see down at Starbase, but this is a great view of the amount of welding and also a good sense of scale of the size of that pipe compared to the workers that are doing that welding. As we continue to work our way to the south, we see more of the auger drill bits, more of the steel corrugated pipes, these excavations, and another one of these trench boxes. And of course, all of this is just north of that caisson, so I do not believe that they are directly related at all. As I kind of try to avoid the sun glare through the propellers of the drone, I'll try to give this a look here along the south end. And of course, that main entrance on the left, all of the scrape tunnels here. And on this southeast side, I noticed my previous video, but I thought I would stop here. They're doing some excavation work, preparing for some sort of pipe segment. And if you look off to the right, we can see another segment that kind of extends up to the perimeter grade beam, and also where all this gray gravel has been moved aside. And it looks like there's some dirt being brought in right now. And previously we saw a bunch of pipe segments that were stored here. Those are now gone, but we do see some excavation equipment on the left-hand side of the screen. I did also notice that this truck was delivering rebar. The bags have kind of rebar bundles that are for the like corner pieces. And then we can see the long stretches of rebar getting ready as well. So it looks like if this is related to that work on that southeast side, we're going to see some rebar work and some concrete poured in the near future. Also a nice view with the lighting inside the southeast corner. And it looks like on the inside there was a excavation as well. So I'll try to look at that more closely on my next video. So I'm going to maneuver the drone around and we'll get ready to resume on the other side of the highway. Previous video, I gave you a detailed look at all four of the large caissons, including the work going on at the base of this one. So I'm not going to do that today. We do just see more of those concrete pipe segments that continue to be delivered here, put down at the bottom and pushed into that tunnel. So that work is definitely continuing. Also, the spoils bin is being cleaned out today. So that shows that there's still more tunneling going on under the ground and under the Colorado River to this day. Now, I'm going to continue to fly to the west towards this large material staging yard. There is a lot of detail updates that I would like to show you. Now, we do see delivery trucks at the bottom of the screen. Some have brought in more steel items. These two pink trucks look like there is some kind of white painted equipment that is getting ready to be unloaded. And I will try to give you a zoom in and show you what that appears like. It's kind of hard to tell for sure what this is, but that is what it looks like. Now, as we look across most of this steel items, we see more of the transformers look like they're being delivered today, although we do see a bunch of empty trucks on the top right of the screen queuing up, and another one showing up here as I zoom out. So I don't know if these are being loaded up to move off-site or what they're doing. I don't see a crane, so I don't see how they're going to be lifting them, at least not at the time that I was flying by here. We see two more trucks maneuvering around, so they may be bringing some additional equipment on the inside of those trucks. Of course, these are those large trailer trucks that look like they may be getting ready to pick up some of the transformers. So on my next video, I'll see if there's any moving away or if we've got more. Now, as I come to this smaller yard, we can see all of these deliveries covered up in these green and blue tarps. And as I kind of fly around, that's what it looks like. It's hard to tell for sure what that is. Now, I mentioned the tunnel boring spoils being brought over here. All of that gray material is what's coming out of the tunnels. The rest of the dirt is being brought in from other parts of the site and being temporarily used here, sometimes to be later on moved to other parts of the site. So that's what's going on the far southwest of this area. Now I'm going to come up over the power lines and show you this material staging yard with a lot of the production equipment below the drone. We saw some close-ups of that on my previous video, so I won't show you that, but I do want to show you some other interesting developments here. One is these items that are being delivered and unloaded. I am not sure exactly what these are, but they are being segregated into this fenced-off section. And previously, we've seen electronic equipment being put in there, so that may be it. But I'll check on that on my next video. All the transformers here, many of them have been moved off site, and we saw that over the last several videos. And then here is where the solar panels are being stored. And if you can see with all of the dirt on them, they've been here for quite some time. They have had covers on them before, and I haven't really shown you this directly, but this is a lot of the solar equipment. We see more of the unirack mounts, some of the bricks that are used to hold the mounts down, and some conduit that's related for that installation. So most of those I would expect to see being moved up to the roof with that large crane that we saw earlier in the video. Now the outbound lot looks pretty busy today. A lot of vehicles on both sides and down the middle here. As we know, next week is going to be the last full production week, and then they're going to have a production pause. While they're doing all of that, they're finishing up upgrades to the line, possibly for a new model, that lower cost model. We do see the work going on here at the superchargers, and it looks quite busy today. More vehicles along the side here by the test track, and a lot lined up through the middle here. So it's possible that they've been emphasizing production to try to get ahead of that production pause while they upgrade the lines next week. And maybe that's why we saw some of the new vehicles exiting the factory today. Here is another excavation that is continuing. It looks like it's the trench work is completed. They're putting in some concrete manhole covers and possibly pipe segments. And then that should be finished up here very soon. As I fly over the end-of-line facility, I wanted to show you some of the new vehicles that are lining up today. As I mentioned, it's a little unusual that there is some level of production today, but it does appear that there is some going on. We also see some vehicles lined up here at the north end of the end of line, getting ready to enter in for more processing. And as I continue to maneuver the drone around and avoid some of the sun, we'll get ready to go across the highway and we'll resume on the other side. We see more of the work on the berm here, and where they put the grass seed mat down, it looks like they're doing some trenching, maybe for electrical conduit. I'm not really sure. We do see some of this green kind of material next to the flexible fiber optic cable and the conduit, but that seems to be continuing to be worked in here on this part of the berm. I did notice that recycling work for the 4680s was continuing, including more of the 4680 cans in that blue bin. And although they are recycling, it's not as many as I have seen in the past on those bins. So perhaps that's an indication that they are improving their production line capabilities. More trenching along this section and more of that grass matting that has been moved away. And this kind of just gives you a better idea of what this part of the site looks like. Now, as I maneuver around towards the north end of the 4680, I just wanted to give you a view across the north end of the factory. Most of the cranes appear to be idle today. I don't see much as far as new equipment being brought in. In front of the plastics manufacturing section, we see these blue containers and some of the other bins for some hazmat equipment. And then here is where we see the bumpers for the paint stands and also the rack mounts for bodies being stored. Now, I did notice this delivery. I wasn't sure if it was headed over to the casting machine section or not, so I thought I would follow it very quickly, but it looks like it's bypassing that. It's going to go on to a different part of the site. So instead, I thought I would start here and let's take a look at some of the construction that is going on at this section. You'll note that there is that cleaner or darker black section next to it. We saw that being excavated and worked on previously, and now it looks like they're finishing the job in that section. Now, in my previous video, I gave you a detailed look of this section, the melt center, and all the castings. So instead, today, I thought I'd give you a shot at the baghouse filtration plant. I have a lot of new viewers. They don't understand what this is for. So just a reminder, this is part of a filtration system that they added into the casting machine section. That's because they were having to deal with some atmospheric conditions that with oil spray out of the casting machines, and also all the furnaces that they added into this section. So this is a way of making sure that the environment is clean and safe for the employees, and also it helps with the production of the castings and other materials that they are doing inside this part of the factory. And we can see some of those bundles of aluminum on the left, the recycled wheels and other scrap aluminum in the middle, and many of the rack mounts and castings along this side. Also where that repair work on that road is underway. So I'm going to bring the drone up and we'll kind of work our way over to the Megapack site. First, just a quick look at these new trailers that are getting ready for the operations to move in here. They're still working on some of the electrical conduit, as you can see by that trench on the south side. But otherwise, most of the work to get these set up looks like it may be completed. These are the old trailers that are going to be relocated. I note that the artificial grass section has been removed. Other items have been removed, so they may be just getting in the last parts of being ready to move all that stuff over to those new trailers. The Megapack 2 continues to see work here on the south end where they're finishing up the fencing. All the lighting seems to be in place, and they are working on this south section. Looks like maybe some more cabling. Some of the cabinets are open, and they're just getting all of this finished up. And when they bring in some gravel mix, we know that they're getting very close to commissioning. So that's still coming up in the near future. Now, I wanted to take this opportunity to look up at the electrical switch yard with those 3 control trailers on the left. They're basically making a mirror image of that here on the right-hand side. We can see the earthwork underway, which I'll show you a closer view of. This is the underground vault that would be under 3 more of those trailers, very similar to what we saw. I can tell that the concrete slab has been poured since my last video, so that has gone very quickly. And now they're installing the rebar along which will be the walls for this underground vault. So this work is definitely progressing quickly. Now on the cleared section, now that they've removed the power poles and the kind of dirt islands that they were on, they are now preparing the grade for construction. In addition to that, we see a kind of a small trench at the bottom of the screen. And as I maneuver around, you'll be able to see it kind of going the length of this. That may be the beginnings of the underground grounding grid. And if that's the case, we'll see kind of a hash mark of these trenches along the entire side, and then they'll install that before they begin the construction of the actual switch yard. So that cleared out area gives you an idea of what that will be like when it is mirrored, and we'll have a double size electrical switch yard. What I'm showing you here is the mobile batch plant, which is now basically permanent. This is what is making the concrete that is being used to construct most of Giga Texas. It's also serving other customers around the area as well. And it does not belong to Tesla. It is a different company. Also, this section here below the drone is where a lot of landscaping materials and some of that work is underway for landscaping around Giga Texas. I'm going to take this opportunity from the far north, look to the south across much of this construction site. And you can see from the switch yard to the right to the Cortex on the left or center what that area is looking like. The roadway that you see kind of extending from the bottom left all the way over to that construction side is where many of the dirt trucks and other equipment are brought up to this part of the site. And this gives you a really good idea of context looking back to the south where we are located. Now I'm going to turn the drone back to the north and just show you where we're flying. And this is that large field that's being used for a lot of equipment and other materials. It looks like there is some excavation work going on this side. And maybe on a future video, I'll do a closer view of that. But this gives you an idea of a lot of the equipment. And it does look to me like some of the equipment is no longer there. So it may be being moved into the factory. And with that construction work that's going on, maybe that indicates that a lot of that is about to go away. This is also a view up to the north through this section where we see more of the dirt being kind of prepared for dirt trucks to pick them up and move them to other parts of the site. Also, more of the concrete that has been recycled and more materials being stored here on the northeast side of the cathode building. More of the steel corrugated pipes and segments next to the cell test lab, and the wade pit on the right, and of course the crash test facility, which actually has some pretty interesting developments today. So I'm going to kind of maneuver the drone around to this south end, and we'll get in for a closer look. What they have been doing is preparing the crash test facility to conduct kind of rollover tests, and they do that by putting a body on something called a flying floor, and then the equipment room that was on the bottom left pulls the cable, and it comes up and then it stops where the dirt is, and then the vehicle rolls on top of that. And I believe that's what's going on. We also see more equipment that has been delivered on the right hand side next to that tent, and it looks like they have a computer out and they're doing some testing with all that equipment as well. But this is a great view of what is going on within the crash testing facility, and with this kind of crash testing, it almost suggests that they're going to be testing something new, which is kind of exciting to think about. I also noticed that this equipment is being delivered today, and because of where it's located, I think this is actually going into the cathode building and not the crash test facility. But as we kind of maneuver around, this gives you an idea of what this looks like. And if I can find out where that is going, I will try to do so on my next video. And of course, a look through the north side of the crash test facility and this east side of the cathode building. Now, as we come up over the roof, I wanted to stop here at the cooling plant just to show you that some of the vaporizers do have the condensation on them on the right, and that indicates that they are doing some level of production today inside the factory using that nitrogen gas that is being kind of turned into a gas from cryogenics through those vaporizers. Now that we're on the east side of the Cortex building, I thought I would give you a nice low-down view of the entire facility and the work that is continuing. Most of it is on the walls and preparing those steel studs to install the walls. They're also putting in some of those doorways that'll be either loading docks or doors for pedestrians, and also saw some windows, which we'll see later on the video on the other side. I also wanted to look here where we saw in my previous video the door open and the work that was going on inside the die shop. Unfortunately, it's shut today, but that does bring us to this southeast corner of the Cortex to see what the wall panels are looking like. And they are continuing to put those blue panels on. Then they put this kind of a green material that seals up all of the seams, and then they will put on a gray textured material, which we'll see on the wall on the other side coming around this corner, and then it will be most likely stained, and I don't know if it's going to be white or gray or what, but as we'll get around this corner, we'll see that that material is getting close to the point where it would be able to take a stain. Now, as we look inside, all of the ground level is still dirt, and I don't really see much as far as work to do utility trenching or rebar or anything with the ground slab. This is a great view of that textured material, and it will give you an idea of what this wall will look like all around this building when it's completed. And it will almost look like a concrete kind of blending in through the other structures, but with this construction we can see how it's actually done. It's kind of like almost like an adobe material that's being put onto the walls rather than having concrete panels. And here's a nice view of more of the work with the steel studs and preparing for those to be installed. I wanted to give you a close look at this opening over this section of Cortex. This is what it looks like, and it suggests that there's going to be some sort of equipment mounted on the roof. Also, perhaps in this section as well, but otherwise the rest of the roof is pretty much contiguous. And we'll see after the walls are put in whether they just put a contiguous weatherproof membrane here with insulation, or if they're going to cut some more holes for equipment. So that'll be something we can watch as time goes on. So that'll bring us to a close for the video today. Great news about Robotaxi. I look forward to sharing as much as I can with you this weekend. And otherwise, thank you very much for your support. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.